Make event portraits feel real is our topic today on Luminar Coffee Break. Let's see what we can accomplish in 15 minutes or less, starting now. Hello everyone and welcome. So our topic today is going to be on how to get emotions out of people during event photography and how to make the portraits feel real. And I'm going to give you a couple examples and then we'll take it from there. So I prepared a little slideshow for everyone. So here we are. First of all, let me get to the beginning part. 1 second. There we go. All right. Got it. So the first step is to make the event portraits feel real. Start with the story. Know the emotion before you raise your camera. So in that moment there, a lot of times I like to have something in my head first on what I want to do. So when I get to the event, I'm ready to just get right into it. Second part is help them relax and get involved. Comfort creates the natural moment. And the last tip is going to be give them a simple action. A small action leads to a real reaction. So let's start with the first one we talked about. Start with the story. Know what the event is really about before you shoot. You know, a charity event may be about service. A birthday may be about celebration. And maybe an anniversary could be about love. Then help them relax and get involved. So greet them with a smile, ask one quick question, and then show them an example so they understand what's the moment we're trying to create. And then, of course, give them a simple action. So give them something that's simple to do. Make it feel natural, keep shooting for the real reaction afterwards. That's the key, making sure that you shoot after you get the reaction from them. So here it is. We're going to start with the story, help them get relaxed and get them involved, and then keep it simple with them. All right. So in doing that, let me give you, here's an example. Now, I did the Ronald McDonald House. Now, I love the organization. They work in conjunction with the Arnold Palmer Hospital for the children. So what the Ronald McDonald House does is it gives the parents a place to stay while their children are in Arnold Palmer. So it's a great organization. This was a Christmas event, and then the second one was a volunteer function, volunteer party. So before I started, in my mind, I had to think, well, what do I want the volunteers to convey? So if they were to do a slideshow, what can we do? And it came down to is how much we love the Ronald McDonald House and the volunteers love the stuff that they're doing. So this is what I had them do. I had each of the people start to create a heart with their hands. Now, when I first started, let me get to the over here. Here's a volunteer party. Ronald McDonald, of course, is the big draw. Notice they wanted him in every picture. So it started out with him just being, with them. Here, let me get all photos. So it started out with him doing the thumbs up or him just walking around, much like a wedding, the bride and groom. Well, I got to admit, I got a little bored. All the thumbs up, and I'm just trying to think, how can I put that into a slideshow? Well, the thumbs up like that, it's okay. That's when I decided, you know what? Nope, it's not following the pattern I want. I want heart. I want community involvement. I want love. Oh, perfect. The heart is a great sample. So notice in the beginning of the shoot, I kind of went off pace. And when I recaught it, I started doing stuff like this just to get, just to get something different. Something different in the mix. That's when I realized, you know what, this isn't working for me. Yeah, it's nice to have Ronald McDonald there, but then towards the middle of the shoot is when I decided this here. That was the defining moment to where I said to him, you know what, let's change what your publicist wants just a little bit. We got what they wanted. You got with the key people. Now, let's do something a little bit different. I pitched it to him. He loved it and said, great, let's go for it. And then, of course, that's what we decided to do. And let me get to my favorites. So I went around photographing people with the hearts. And then, of course, I did Ronald. All right? Now, that's how we got the emotion out of people. We got the cause and effect. You saw a couple of the shots I did where people were taking cell phone photos of others, mobile shots. So I took pictures of a mobile shot of them photographing the scene just to make it different. Now that we have this here, let's do some editing real quick with Luminar Neo. Well, the background was very pleasing. So if you could tell I used on-camera flash, which I'm not a huge fan of, but since it was just me, that's all I can do with it. Expose for the element you can't control. So in this case, I exposed for the background. This is what I wanted to make sure I captured, right? All of this back in here. Once I knew I had that set, then I just adjusted the light to illuminate the subject. So again, expose for the element you can't control, which is the background, and then I added light onto the subject, because that flash is not going to illuminate that entire scene. Now that I have this set, a couple things I don't like. Well, I'm first going to start with develop, and I want to come in, and I'm noticing this was an older camera that I used. So, actually, there it is. That's the one. Adjustment, and let me make a virtual copy of this. All right, this is the raw file. So, and I want to revert to original. Good. So here's the original image, and since it was an older camera, this is where I decided, you know what? Let's see what the profile that the camera is doing. And I noticed, oh, let me get back to that. Okay, one moment. There we go. All right. Yep, I crashed it. So let's get Luminar to boot up again. And by the way, if you're running a bunch of things, like in this case, I'm running Zoom, vMix, Luminar, and I bet you I have a few. Nope, good, thank God. And use like Mylio or anything that's going to tax your system overboard, shut all of that down. So if you notice Luminar is either crashing or it's not performing as fast as it should, make sure you go back and you shut down everything you can. All right? So with that being said, let's give it a moment to come back up. There we have it. All right, there's the Ronald McDonald House. Here's the event photos. All right, so back to this image here. So now that we have that image, that's the one. Now that we have this image here, what I do want is, let me get to edit, and it's not liking, there we go, edits, up, and it's doing it again. So something with that particular file. I know it's an older file that I've been going over and over on, so I know that that's causing an issue, so I'll talk you through it, all right? And again, what I may have to do is go back in, clear the cache, and go back and fix it. But until then, let me get back to this here. So with the new updates that we've created with the bokeh effect, I had beautiful bokeh already. So the bokeh was already incredible in the background, but using the new bokeh tool, now what I'm able to do is, let me get back to here, and I'm going to go, let's see, there's the NEF. I'm going to stick to this one right here. All right. So with the new bokeh tool, what I did do in the background is I decided to take advantage and expand it a little bit more. A couple things I didn't like in this image is, yeah, there's nothing I can do about it, but there's hot spots. So in this particular shot, during the actual photograph, there's a lot to remember for event photography. I didn't catch those highlights in the background, but I still like what the background did. If I noticed something in the shot did not look good, I would use the subject to hide that the distraction and photograph from there. In this case here, it's real easy. Just go in with the erase tool, erase these two hot spots. Let's see if I'm able to do it. And if I can, I'll just erase these two hot spots. And there we go. Make just slight adjustments like this. Erase. Good, got that out of the way. And then with the new bokeh tool, I want to enhance what I already have. So I'm going to blur it. And notice what we're going to do here. I'll go to an extreme. There we go. That's way too much. But let's dial it back a bit. Right about there. And let's use, I love that geometric pattern. There we go. So it may not seem like it's a big deal, but look at the difference between this and this. Look at that. Just how it just gives you that more pleasing look. Even though it's still a very good shot, there are little things I want to do to fix this. Let's see. Highlights. Let's dial it back just a little bit. And Ronald's face is really getting a little too much. So I'm going to dial it even more. But then I'm going to mask it. Erase. And just fix this area here. Let's get rid of this. There we go. There. So now just that little step. Let's see the difference. Before and after. So those are little things we have to do, but keep in mind, if I had to do this for all of the images, that 2-second, well, actually in this case, let's say 15-second edit is going to start adding up. That's why during the events, the best thing to do is find that pleasing background. Get the subject that you want. In this case, we have our hearts. Now that you nailed that down, take those shots. And then in this case here, I do love showing the back of the camera and say, oh, wow, look how beautiful this is. And it worked. For this event, I asked a simple question in the very beginning. How long have you been associated with the Ronald McDonald House? And then they would tell me, and then I may follow up with, hey, what's one of your favorite reasons why, or what's your main reason for joining? And in this case here, this one woman had one of her children there. And just to see the excitement on their face, that's what you're looking for. If this were, let's say, a 50th wedding anniversary, you may go around to people and say, hey, well what's your favorite story of the new bride and groom? You know, you've been with them for how many years? Have been married for 50? What's one of your favorite love stories you remember of them? And when they start telling you that story, you'll see their face light up. That's when you take the shots. And just keep the conversation going. Maybe they talk amongst each other. You sneak in, you photograph it. Those are ways for you to get genuine reactions out of event portraits. All right? So I hope that helps. And once again, these were the tips that we talked about. We ended up in here. We start with the simple story, help them relax and get involved, and then give them a simple action. Give them something for them to do, whether it's doing this or engagement or anniversary parties. I love when they kiss each other on the cheek. Little things like that helps tell the stories, and you get them laughing, and you get those beautiful event portraits. All right? Well, thank you so much for joining us. If you're here, please stick around for the Ask Me Anything segment. For everyone else, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.